What comes to mind when you think of Japan? The harmony of tradition and modernity? Cutting-edge technology? Clean streets and breathtaking nature? Well, Japan is now making headlines for something completely unexpected and, frankly, shocking. Believe it or not, some are calling Japan the new sex tourism hotspot of Asia. Yes, you heard that right. Have you ever heard the term Tachinbo? This isn't just a word, it's a window into a much larger issue, one that exposes the shifting social landscape in Japan. Media outlets like the South China Morning Post have even featured this as a major topic recently. So, what's happening? Let's start with Japan's economy. Once a global powerhouse, Japan is now struggling through a period of economic decline. During its economic boom, Japanese men were often associated with traveling abroad for illegal sex tourism. But now, the tables have turned. Foreign men are flocking to Japan, and experts are pointing to the weak yen and rising poverty rates as key drivers of this trend. At the heart of this controversy lies a place called Okubo Park in Tokyo's bustling Shinjuku district. Okubo Park has gained notoriety as a hub for illegal sex work, and the story of one woman, a 19-year-old known as Rui, a pseudonym, has sent shockwaves through Japanese society. Rui's story is jaw-dropping. She openly admits to working in Okubo Park, approaching men and offering her services. On an average day, she sees 5 clients. On weekends, that number doubles, but here's the twist. About half of her clients aren't even Japanese. They come from places like Taiwan, China, and Hong Kong. Foreign tourists are becoming a significant part of this troubling scene. So what's driving women like Rui to such extremes? Some say it's not just about money, but a much deeper issue rooted in Japan's shifting societal dynamics. But to truly understand this, we need to take a closer look at what's happening beneath the surface. This is just the beginning of a much bigger conversation. Stick around, because we're going to dive deeper into how Japan's economic struggles and evolving culture are reshaping its identity in ways no one could have imagined. How much do they make? Let's put it this way. On an average day, women working as Tachinbo can pull in around 100,000 yen, roughly $1,000. That's daily, not monthly. And that's why so many of them are willing to take the risk. When asked why they turn to this lifestyle, many say it's because traditional jobs don't pay enough, or the corporate culture is just too suffocating. But for Rui, the young woman we talked about earlier, there's a deeper reason behind her actions. Debt. And not just any debt. It's money she owes to a host bar. Now, if you've never heard of a host bar, it's a place where women pay male hosts to drink with them, chat with them, and, let's be honest, make them feel special. But the costs? Astronomical. These women spend thousands on expensive drinks and lavish gifts just to capture a host's attention. And when the bills pile up, they find themselves with no choice but to turn to the streets to make ends meet. Think this is just an isolated issue? Think again. A surprising number of Japanese women are finding themselves in similar situations. They're not just chasing affection from hosts, they're trying to survive in a country where economic opportunities seem to be shrinking. But here's where it gets even more shocking. This phenomenon isn't limited to Japan anymore. Recently, South Korea has reported cases of Japanese women engaging in sex tourism of their own. Police in Seoul in the Gyeonggi province recently cracked down on an organized ring that brought Japanese women into the country specifically for sex work. Here's how it worked. The ring recruited women through agencies in Japan, taking advantage of South Korea's 90-day visa-free entry policy. Once in South Korea, these women advertised their services through online platforms and messaging apps like Telegram, operating primarily out of luxury hotels in Gangnam. The price of their services? Anywhere from $150 to as much as $1,200 per transaction. And to avoid detection, every payment was made in cash. The news has left both Japanese and South Korean citizens stunned. For many in Japan, it's a harsh wake-up call about the realities of a struggling economy. People are asking, how did it get to this point? How did the land of prosperity and pride become a breeding ground for such desperation? What do you think? Is this just another symptom of economic decline, or is there something deeper at play? Stick around as we continue to unpack the layers of this troubling trend. Yeah, this phenomenon isn't just an individual issue. It's deeply tied to the structural problems within Japanese society. One glaring example is the rise of Menko concept cafes. These are places where male employees dress up in specific costumes and entertain female customers, offering them a sense of fantasy and emotional satisfaction. For many women, these cafes provide more than just a fun escape. They create an addictive cycle. Women often become hooked on the praise and attention from their favorite hosts, pouring all their hard-earned money into these interactions. And believe it or not, this behavior has even been given a name: oshikatsu. It's a term that frames this spending as a form of fandom, where women support and celebrate their favorite hosts like fans do with pop idols. But here's the harsh reality. The costs of this addiction are staggering. Many of these women find themselves buried in debt, and for some, the only way to repay it is through sex work. It's a vicious cycle fueled by societal pressures and economic hardship. And let's not forget, sex work is illegal in Japan. Yet despite strict laws, the problem persists. Last year alone, Japanese police arrested 140 women for street-based sex work near Okubo Park in Tokyo. That's a 2.7-fold increase from the previous year. Clearly, enforcement isn't enough to address the root of the issue. So, what's really driving this? At the heart of it, you'll find loneliness, financial struggles, and social isolation. These are the invisible forces pushing women into such desperate situations. What do you think? Is this just a Japanese problem? Or is it a sign of something bigger, a universal challenge we might find closer to home than we'd like to admit? Let us know your thoughts, and let's keep this conversation going.